Hey guys, it's Brian. We're back here in the garage with the Frostbite JL, and today we're putting in a radio from Midland. Let's go take a look. Alright guys, so the radio we got from Midland is going to be the MXT275. This is going to be installed in the Jeep. We have been using their GXT walkie-talkies, and these have been working great. We get up to about 2 miles with them on the trail. This little unit's going to be a 15-watt radio, so it should extend our range quite a bit. So I'm excited to get this in the Jeep. Let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff we need to go along with it. Alright, so to go along with the radio, we did get a 3 decimal gain antenna for GMRS, and then we also got their cable that will adapt to the antenna. We did pick up a rugged radio JL mount. This is going to mount it on the driver's side, kind of right by the mirror for us. And then also we picked up a little mic mount. This is from Topsy Products, so we'll go ahead and be installing that, and that will house our microphone. And then we did get a SWR meter. What this is going to do is this is going to test our SWR to make sure it's within optimal range so we don't fry our radio and so we get the best signal out of our radio. This one's from SureCom. It's from Amazon. I'll put links down below. I also picked up some adapters in case we need to cut the cable a little shorter. We can go ahead and throw on a new adapter as well. That will help with the SWR readings sometimes. And then I picked up some industrial Velcro. This is Outdoor Extreme Velcro. We're going to use this for the base unit. We're going to go ahead and Velcro that up under the dash. So let's go ahead and we'll get this installed. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and tear into the box and see what we get with this MXT275. So this is what you get. Looks like you get the brains of the radio here. And this is going to come on the little mount. This is what we're going to Velcro up under the dash or maybe down on the carpet. I'm going to see what looks best. There's the power wire for that. And then all the controls are housed in the mic here. Let's take a look at this. So this is going to have all your volume controls, all your push to talk controls, your radio selection, your call buttons. All that's going to be in this unit. So theoretically we can hide this, and this is all you're going to see. So that's where that Topsy Products mount is going to come in handy. We're just going to have this up on the dash, and then we're going to have the box down underneath. So let's go ahead and we'll start tearing into this. I think we'll start with getting the antenna installed on the new rugged radio mount, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the base unit installed here. Some of the other stuff that comes in the box here. This is the basic antenna that's going to come with it. It is magnetic based, so you could, if you didn't want to mount a permanent radio, you could just throw this up on your hood, hook this up to the back of the unit here and use that. That would work too. And then this comes with a cigarette lighter. It's going to be a DC adapter. So if you didn't want to hardwire it, all you'd have to do is plug it into your dash and you can run the power off that. We are going to go ahead and splice into my factory auxiliary switch bank, which is in the passenger footwell, and we'll hardwire that straight to the battery so it'll work all the time for us. And that'll be a better connection. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. It does come with a little mic mount. If you do want to use this one, it does have some adhesive on the back. You could stick that onto your glove box, or you could drill it into somewhere. I do want to go ahead and use this mount. It'll be a little more stable. Then you get a sticker. All right guys, let's get this installed. All right guys, so on the rugged radio mount, we're going to go ahead and get this installed first. It does look like it comes with hardware that does TJs, JKs, and your JLs and your JTs as well. So it looks like it works for a wide range of Wranglers. We're going to go ahead and throw this on the driver's side, get our antenna mapped up, and start running our cable to our radio, and then we'll go ahead and get the radio base unit installed. All right, here we go. All right guys, so this is where the mount's going to go. It's going to go on the driver's side here, and it's going to use this existing factory bolt here, hole anyways. We've got a replacement bolt for this, and then that ghost antenna is going to mount right here. We're going to run the wire back underneath and right past the firewall underneath the dash here for you. So what we need to do is get this cowl piece off. So we're going to take that off first. We'll run our wire, and then we'll go ahead and get this guy mounted up with the antenna. Alright guys, to go ahead and get this cowl piece off, you do need a T40 Torx bit. I do have some KC light mounts on here, so mine's going to be a little bit different, but it is 4 holes that you're going to go ahead and loosen, and then this plastic piece will come right out. Then we'll gain access to where we want to run the wires. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, if you guys are running the same KC brackets, it is going to be a 4mm Allen. So we'll go ahead and get that loosened up, and then this plastic piece should come out. Alright guys, now that we got this all loose, we can go ahead and lift our bracket up there. That's just a little metal spacer. and then we just pull this plastic piece right on out. Easy as that. This is just painted plastic. You can see this is kind of where we ran our KC wires before. We're now going to run our antenna wires back into the cab here. So let's go ahead and we'll start on that. Alright guys, so here's our cable for the antenna. You can see this is where it's going to thread on, and that'll go on the mount. So this end is the end that needs to go to the radio. And the cool thing about Midland's setup is you can take the coupler off here, and it greatly decreases the profile on this. So it makes it easier for running it through the firewall, depending on which vehicles you're putting it in on. So say you can go ahead and thread that piece off. So what's good about that is now all you have to worry about is getting this ran to your radio. So if you're running it from the back or running it through the firewall somewhere on an older Jeep, this is all you got to push through the foam. On this one, what we're going to do is try to run it up underneath the windshield here, kind of by this drain, and then we're going to pop off the panel trim pieces and go into the dash underneath the pedals there for you, and then we'll run that over to the passenger side for where the radio is going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll pop those panels off. We'll start running this. Once we get that all tucked together, we'll go ahead and put our cowl piece back on, and we'll put our mount and our radio together. So let's go ahead and get this ran. So if you come take a look, you can see a gap in here. What we're going to do is kind of pop this piece off, and then we're going to pop this panel off here, and then we're going to run the wires down underneath from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just to gain access to this area here for us. Having a little panel tool definitely makes this easier. That way you're not scratching stuff up with a screwdriver. Alright, now that we got that piece out of the way, we can get a clearer path of where we're going to run that. We want that cable to pop down in here, and then we're going to run it underneath the dash here. So let's go ahead and we'll figure that out here. Alright, so we separated the foam here a little bit, and then what we're going to do is kind of drop the wire kind of right up in this channel, and then down into that panel where we opened. Don't want to peel too much of this off. This is going to be some waterproofing here, so we don't want to separate that too much. It is quite sticky still, so once we get that cable through, we can go ahead and read here there. So we're going to fish this down on the other side, and then this should be our nice clean install here for the wire. So you guys can probably see it popped through right in there, coming through that path. So what we're going to do is we're going to fish it down and run it down here underneath the dash like we were talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, and there we are. So you want to go ahead and pull all that through right through here. That's where we're going to run it through. We can go ahead and put this guy back together here. And then you want to make sure you have enough slack so you can mount your cable here. That mount's going to go right here, and this antenna is going to go here. You can run it either this way, and then hide this up underneath the cowl, or run it the other way. I'm going to try to run it the other way. I think it'll look a little cleaner, but we'll see how it turns out as far as where we can route the wire. All right guys, so I think this is how I'm going to run it. If you do come around the back piece of this plastic cowl piece, there's enough room back there to get that wire in there and get this piece flush. So I think that'll look pretty clean, especially once the antenna's here. And then this doesn't affect the door at all once we closed it. So I think this is where we're going to run it for now. And then let's go ahead and get the inside buttoned up. So now that we got that round how we want it, we got it tucked up through the foam. I went ahead and put that little trim piece back on there, made sure everything was sealed up good. Now we're going to go ahead and put our 4 bolts back in. This one's going to come with a new included bolt for the mount and a little foam spacer that's going to go between the paint and the mount, so it's not pushing right on the paint. So I think once we get this all buttoned up, this will look really clean. This is kind of how you mount the wire on the antenna mount here for you. It does have a little plastic spacer in there. You tighten that down, and then you can screw your antenna right onto that. So let's go ahead and we'll use the supplied hardware and get this guy mounted up and then finish up inside. Alright, now that we got that mounted, we can go ahead and hook up our antenna cable here. So you want to go ahead and bring that part through. You do need to make sure you have this metal piece on the back here. Bring that through. Then the little plastic spacer. And then the mounting screw. You do want to get this nice and tight. That way it doesn't come unthreaded inside your antenna if you do swap antennas out. I did have to go ahead and pull that out earlier. It did get threaded in the antenna and then it got stuck in there. So you want to make sure you get this nice and tight. This is copper though, so you don't need to ream it down too tight. Just get it pretty snug. That way, like I said, if you're swapping antennas all the time for the bigger one, you're not getting that stuck in there. Alright, so this is going to be our 3 decimal gain antenna. This is just going to screw right on top here. Now that we got that snug, And then, like I said, you don't want to get this too tight, or you can get that base stuck inside there, and then it'll all thread together. So just get that snug, just like that. And then we're going to tuck the extra wire in here. And that's what she's going to look like. I think this looks pretty clean. I like this area for it being mounted. It's up out of the way. Let's go ahead and we'll route the cable inside over to the radio, and then we'll get the radio installed. All right, guys, we're back in the Jeep. As you can see, we got that all buttoned up. It's running right behind there. We got this panel off. We got our cable running right down here. I did go ahead and pop this little kick panel off down here, and we're going to run our cables up underneath there, and we'll secure it and run it all the way over to the other side of the infotainment center where we're going to put the radio. So let's go ahead and we'll do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're all done, and we'll get that radio mounted. All right, so now that I got that ran all underneath there, let's go ahead and we'll pull this side off. And I did end up pulling this bracket, made it a little easier. These are just 10 millimeters, and then I'm going to pass the cable underneath here, and we'll route it up underneath here where we're going to mount the box. All right. There's our cable. All right, guys, so we got it all zip tied up underneath there on the other side. Got it all around how I like it. Got it popping out kind of right where that AEV ProCal wiring is coming out. Now we're going to mount our head unit for the radio up under here somewhere. I was thinking about we could either Velcro it here, or we could do the double-sided Velcro and put it up there, or zip tie it. Another thing you can do that I've seen people do is mount it in the glove box. I don't think we're going to do that. My glove box is normally full, so we're going to mount it up underneath there with that Velcro. That way we can remove it if we need to. All right, guys, so this is going to be the Midland radio itself. It is designed that you can hide it up out of the way. It does have a speaker, though, so I don't want to hide it too well. It does come on this bracket, so the radio is removable off this bracket. And this is where we're going to go ahead and put that Velcro I was talking about, this Outdoor Extreme 15-pound Velcro. We're just going to go ahead and we'll adhere that to the back here. That way I can put this on the carpet up in the wheel well there, and if I need to move it around, I can. We're going to try that. If I need to put it up in the glove box later, we can, but we'll start with this. And these are going to be the 2x4 inch strips, and they're about the perfect size for this. So I'll put a link for this stuff down below. They do require some time for this adhesive to cure. Looks like 15 minutes. So we'll leave this on for about 15 minutes, tidy up our wiring, and then we'll mount this unit in there. All right, guys, so we're up underneath the glove box area here. I decided to go ahead and put my Velcro backing on this little module here, and then we went ahead and put the loop part of the loop and fastener here. So we're going to mount it up like this. We're going to run the power over to this side and this wheel well where we have our auxiliary wires, and then this should give the mic enough room to come and mount up here. Looks like it'll be pretty clean down underneath there. You don't really see it. Should be good there. Shouldn't be kicking in a whole lot. And the beauty of the Velcro is we can move it if we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start wiring this bad guy up, and we'll get that the antenna cable hooked up in there. We'll get the power cable in the ground over here in the footwell, and then we'll check our SWR and see how our new system's working. Alright, guys, just wanted to show you how I ran the wires on the driver's side. We did go ahead and tuck it underneath that rubber piece there. We ran it down underneath here, underneath the kick panel here, and we followed that bar right along there along with my AV harness. And we did go ahead and pull off those plates that were there, those 10 millimeter plates like we were talking about. And we run them right underneath there, and let's go look at the passenger side. All right, and that's where they come out on the passenger side here for us. We are going to go ahead and mount it right up there with some Velcro like we were talking about. But the cool thing about this setup, this particular model, is it comes with the DC adapter, the cigarette lighter adapter. There are some fuses in line as well, which is good. So I've got it kind of mocked up with the antenna already hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in to the cigarette lighter, and we'll test it real quick, make sure we're getting power and everything looks good. And then later we'll go ahead and wire it right up there in the wheel well. And we're not going to transmit it just yet because I do want to check the SWR. I do have that little meter there for it. But I just want to see if it powers up, make sure we got a good unit. Let's try that. Alright guys, so we went ahead and hooked it up in the cigarette lighter there. Run it just a kind of a semi-permanent setup, kind of like I did with the Velcro, and with just plugging it into here without hardwiring it. You could always do that, and then you could just pop this unit out when you weren't using it, you weren't on the trail. Let's go ahead and power this up for the first time. Alright, there she is. Looks like she works. So let's go ahead and we'll finish installing this, and then we'll hardwire in the wheel well there for you. Alright guys, so I went ahead and removed the kick panel on the passenger side here. That's going to expose all these wires here. I did have to look around quite a bit for my auxiliary wiring harness. It's this guy right here. They had it tucked up under there. They got them wrapped up pretty good. But we're going to go ahead and we'll do our to the battery power through there, and then we'll run the ground on an eyelet right over to here. Alright guys, so we went ahead and found the wire that we need. It's going to be this white and red one from our auxiliary bundle here. That's going to be battery direct. So I went ahead and we cut off the cigarette lighter part of the DC plug. Went ahead and got some electrician's tape on that. We're going to run this for the negative over here on the post, and then we're going to go ahead and hardwire up our positive to that connection. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so we went ahead and you saw we got the negative hooked up there. We went ahead and hooked up our positive to that white and red wire. That's going to be our battery always on. So we got those guys hooked up. So now I've got it plugged into the radio. We're going to go ahead and test it, make sure we got the power hooked up correctly. Alright, and there it is. Looks like it's working just fine. So we're going to go ahead and button this all up, clean it up, put all our panels back on, and then I want to do a SWR reading on that, make sure that our antenna and this length of cable is good. And then we'll put our little mount our mic right up here, and we'll be all done. We'll be ready to test it. Stay tuned till the end. We want to go ahead and test how far we can actually get this to work. So now that we got the radio all buttoned up, I put all the panels back on except for this side. And then I did get the power hooked up, and I got the antenna tucked away where I want it. I did have about 5 feet of extra cable. I did just wind it up and tuck it underneath the carpet. I will go back and trim that later if we do get bad SWR. So now I want to show you what we got here. So I've got my SWR meter that we were talking about earlier from Surecom. I'll put links for this below. You do need to get some adapters so you can attach your antenna to the meter and your radio to the meter. I'll put links for those down below. But what this is going to do is this is going to tell us what our SWR is. So let's go ahead and we'll power on the radio now. And then we're going to just power on this device. You have to just hold it for 10 seconds and it's on. See, we're down in the SWR reading, which is this lower left corner there. It's 0 right now because we're not transmitting. So I've got the radio on channel 1. And we're going to just hold down the transmit button and see what the meter does. All right, 1.76. That's not horrible. It's not the best. 1.5 or lower is great. Anything under 2 is still pretty good though. Anything in the 2 to 3 range, you probably should adjust some stuff. If you're over 3, you can actually fry your radio. So we're pretty close to 1.5, so that should be good. So you want to check it on your lowest frequency and the highest. So we're going to jump from channel 1 up to channel 22, which is going to be our highest, and let's transmit and see what it does. Yeah, it's a little higher on that frequency. It's 1.79. We're still under 2, so I think I'll leave it as is. If I do want to improve it later on, I might come back and cut that 5 feet of cable off and splice in a new adapter here to plug it into the back of the radio. But I'm happy with that. That should work just fine. So we're all done testing the SWR. We know our radio's safe and we're not going to fry it with our current setup. So we can go ahead and unhook this. I'm going to tuck more of these wires away, put this panel away, and then we should be good to go. We're just going to Velcro this back up, and then we're going to install our mic mount for this guy, and the install should be all done. We're going to run and test it at the end, so stay tuned for that. I want to see about how far range we can get out of this. Alright, thanks guys. Alright guys, one more cool thing about this meter I got here. It'll actually show you the wattage of the radio as well on the different channels. So let's go ahead and we'll turn this guy back on. I want to show you that. So we got it on channel 1. So channel 1 is going to be a low power setting. That's so you can communicate on FRS as well. Let's see what we get. That's 4.3 on that. So let's go ahead and we'll bump this up to a high channel and see what we get. 9.4. All right, guys. So I do have the vehicle running now, and we're going to test the wattage on the radio again. Got it on channel 21, one of the higher channels. And there, we're up there right around 14. So that is a lot better than what the vehicle off. That makes sense since we got the alternator and everything running. So you're getting pretty close to advertised. There's 14.1, 14. So yeah, you're getting pretty close to that 15 that's advertised. Let's try it again on the low channel. 5.1. 5.1 channel 2. That's pretty spot on for what's advertised. So that's pretty close. On the top end, you're not quite 15, but it's close. So that's a lot better than testing it with the vehicle off. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, and for you guys that have never taken your doors off, this is the plug that you're going to unplug and plug in when you are removing the doors. And then it does have a little backpack strap here that kind of hooks on here. So you just got to unhook that and then pop this guy in. You will go ahead and then lock this down over it and push the red tab. Pretty easy, just something that's a little tricky if you've never done it before. So let's go ahead and get this panel back on. We're going to tuck in the rest of our wiring and we should be all set. Alright guys, just want to show you the final result with it buttoned all up down here. I think it turned out pretty clean. There's where the unit's mounted with Velcro, so it is removable. Got the antenna wires and the power wire running right there. And that is the quick disconnect, so I can unplug it. And there's also the fuses for the wiring as well. So if I do need to change them, they're right there. So that's all tucked up nice and out of the way. We should still be able to hear that speaker that's up under there. And then we're going to go ahead and run the cable up here, and we will put it up here on the dash here for us. So I think it's a pretty clean install. We got good SWRs. We're getting good power out of it. It should work great. So tomorrow we'll go ahead and we'll put the Topsy mount up here. We'll show you guys that. And then we're going to take it for a little test drive and see about how far we can get it to work. All right, thanks guys. Alright guys, it's been a couple days. Let's go ahead and finish up this radio install. Let's get this mic out of the cup holder. I do have this little Topsy Products mount. This is going to go right up here. This is real simple. It's one bolt. They do give you nice colored instructions. It's going to be one 10mm bolt after we pop off the heater unit thing here, the plastic cover for the heater bezel. And then that's about what it's going to look like when it's all done. So let's get rid of these and let's go ahead and pop the panel off. We'll want to use a trim piece so you don't mar up your panel here too much. Right, pretty easy. Definitely want to use these plastic trim removal pieces, that way we're not scuffing this all up. So this is the bolt we need here. It's going to be a 10mm. Let's go ahead and we'll take that off, and then this will bolt right in there for you. Alright, there's the bolt we needed to take out. It's pretty long. You do want to be careful. This is into plastic here, it looks like, so don't want to go reaming on it too hard. So now we just go ahead and we slide the mount in here, and it'll kind of sit flush up against the back there, and then we got to tighten this guy back down. Alright, so you do want to make sure you get this as straight as you can. You want to make sure that this is flush up against here. I have seen some people go ahead and trim a little plastic off here just so this doesn't stick out. Let's go ahead and pop it back on, see how it looks. If it does bother me, I'll just come back with the Dremel and just take a little hair off there. Let's go ahead and we'll pop this back on. Make sure you get your wires back where they need to go. Guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at how it works. So you got your mic here, you can go ahead and we'll just index it in here and it pops right in, and that's where it's going to live. I think it looks pretty neat. Okay, so it's about right here from the driver's perspective, and then I kind of hid that base unit as you guys saw up underneath there, so you don't even see it if you're sitting in the passenger seat. And then you can go ahead and just grab it. You got enough cord, you can bring it up to you, and then when you're all done, put it back here. If you are on a trail ride where you're talking a lot, I found that just throwing this down in the cup holder works pretty good too. Another cool thing about this mount is you can clip a handheld on there. It's got little wings here, so if you pull this piece off, you can go ahead and clip a handheld walkie-talkie on there and it doesn't rattle around. So that's pretty cool if you're running one of those as well. But that's where that's gonna live from now on. I think it turned out pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Hey guys, it's Brian. So today we're gonna test out the Midland radio. We are on channel 16, so that's going to be a GMRS radio, so we do have to give them our call sign for our license. So we'll do that real quick. We're gonna check it in at the house, and then we're gonna drive a certain mileage, and we'll see how far it goes for us. SWR radio test.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna start driving. All right, can you still hear me now?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Gonna keep driving. All right, about a quarter mile away, can you hear me?
What'd you say?
About a quarter mile away, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, it's coming through a little staticky. All right, we're about a mile out, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're past 2, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I can still make out what you're saying. All right, I'm at 2.5 miles, can you hear me? Do you copy 2.5 miles? All right guys, so about 2.5 miles is all we're going to get out of this current setup with the Ghost antenna. We are transmitting to a little handheld Midland, the GXT series 1000, and those work really good when you're out on the trail. Definitely a lot better line of sight, of course. We do have a small antenna, and it is kind of hidden on the A-pillar on the driver's side there, so that could be affecting some of the range. If you did do the 6 decimal gain antenna, you would probably get quite a bit more range out of it. But, you know, 2 miles, 2.5, so we're dropped out. That's still pretty respectable. It's a lot better than CB radio, of course. And these kits aren't too expensive. For right around $200, you can get this installed in your Jeep and be ready to go next time you go off-roading. So I think it's a great little kit. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Have a good one. Alright guys, another cool thing about this setup I do want to show you, it does come with this antenna, and it is a magnet based one. So if you did want to have the radio in there, not permanent, you could go ahead and use the DC adapter, and this is just going to go into your cigarette lighter. Then you could use that Velcro it up underneath there, and then you could run this. This little guy comes with a pretty strong magnet. Kind of pops right in there. The rest of this is all aluminum, so it's not going to adhere to that because it's non-ferrous. But that little bolt's pretty ferrous, so it sticks to that pretty good. And then you could run the cable up through this little notch on this passenger side and right into your radio. And then when you're all done with the trail, just unplug your adapter, pull this guy off, and you can pull the radio out if you wanted to. Kind of a neat little option if you wanted to run that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and finish this up. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the new radio install. I'm pretty happy with the Midland setup. The MXT275 looks like it's going to be pretty cool. I do really like that Ghost antenna and that rugged radio mount. That's pretty sweet. And I do like how we Velcroed it up underneath the glove box. Just in case I do need to ever take it out, I can pull it out through there. All right, guys, if you like the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Follow along for more. And then go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're planning on getting this set up or if you have it already and if you like it. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.